Well, hi guys, hope you're doing well. I wonder if anyone knows what this is. It's something a little bit different. You know me, always like sort of quirky things, and it is actually a coaxial. Now, I saw a pair of these on eBay, must have been about 3 years ago, and I thought it looked an interesting project. But it was very expensive. There was I think there was 2 of them and a pack of spare blades and all stuff like that. And it was like 300 quid or something. But I didn't go for it then. But this one came up a couple of weeks ago, £50 I think on eBay. And it looked like it was all there. The canopy hadn't been painted. I've done that myself. And it was made by the Air Scoot Corporation, USA. And it was very expensive back in the day. I think it was 2003 they came out, and they were like $850, I think. And if you wanted a radio with it, it was $950. Now, that is a lot of money for what you get. And to be honest, it's not a great flying machine, but it's different, and I like that sort of thing. It uses what they call, I think, vector thrust to actually steer it. So it uses the downwash of the blades. So it goes through them pair of rudders there. So if you want to go left, it directs the air that way and pushes it round to the left. And if you want to go that way, right, it pushes the air that way when you turn right. Now, it all sounds very well and good, but the problem you got with it, it's not like the modern gyro where you have the top rotor that speeds up and slows down, that steers the model. You're using purely the downwash. So the trouble you've got is when you slow down, you kind of lose the steering a bit, and then it comes quite sensitive when you've got a bit of power, and the torque on it is really, you have to watch it. I've got a really sort of like one of them long curves because when I first got it, was a straight line. The throttle was so touchy, it was just up and down, up and down. It was horrendous to fly it, and you can't fly it in any sort of wind, not even the slightest little breeze. It upsets it. It just blows it around. You can have them full over there and it'll go around to the left with a tiny little bit of wind on it. So it kind of wasn't a marvellous idea. It could have probably done with 2 motors and a different speed, but there's still other problems with it as well. It doesn't like flying forward. A typical coaxial with one swash plate, you can see it's got one swash plate that does the pitch on the bottom blades. Now, I thought being a bit bigger, it might sort of fly okay, but what can I say? It's more sort of like a hovering machine. And if you've got it absolutely dead calm, and I mean, like absolutely dead calm, you can sort of fly it around not too bad, but it can only sort of go like about 20 yards forward, and then it kind of just stops and it wants to come back on you. So you sort of let the throttle off a little bit because it looks like it's going to stall. And if you put any more on, the torque will spin it round to face you, because as you let off a little bit, it's got no sort of downwash and it wants to spin round on you. But it's a typical sort of coaxial helicopter where it kind of goes along in a series of stalls. If you try and go forward, it'll sort of blat away for sort of like about 10 yards, and then it'll just kind of stop as though it's hit a brick wall. And you sort of have to let off a little bit and try and put the nose down a little bit and get it moving again. Now, I've got a video of this flying, which I'm going to put on after I've done this little chat. I went out over our flying field, and it was very calm, and I just sort of potted it around as carefully as I could. I had a few moments with it, as careful, and carefully as I could sort of fly it. And I did get, I think it was a couple of minutes flying out of it, and I sort of landed it. Now, I'll show you the innards of it. It's pretty simple, really. Got these little rubber, I mean, this was a clear Lexian shell. I mean, that was, I have crashed it so many times, and the shell has been squashed right in, but it seems to pop out again. It's a really good, it's a that's probably the best bit on it is the lets and shell. But I suppose, I don't know, it's okay, you know. I mean, it was meant to fly on like a 20 subsea, not 20, a 10 cell pack of NICADs. So you can imagine the weight of those. You know, we're flying it on, I think it's a 5,000 LiPo in there, and that's 11.1. They also say, I've been trying to, it's such a rare thing that I've been trying to find anything online about it. There's a couple of little pieces I found on it, a sort of manual online, and it says you have to move the battery as far forward as you can. I guess that's to try and get over the stalling, or that, you know, it doesn't want to fly forward very well. So if you put a little bit of aileron in, it's not so bad, but it obviously you're going to go around in a circle. Now, I did fly it with the LiPo underneath, and I had a massive crash, bent everything up. And what I've done now is I've made a longer plate for the battery to go on, so I can move it right into the front there. But like I say, I had a crash and it actually sort of damaged the canopy, but it's repaired that quite good. So what we've got here is that's a cobalt motor. That's a 7-turn. I mean, it's like something you'd have in your electric drill. Can you see the size of that com? I mean, it's powerful. I've got it turned right down, and it gets red hot. I've read some reviews on it from back in the day, and they all were saying that the motor gets so hot. I mean, you can sort of smell it. You know, and I think if I was to fly it longer than 5 minutes without crashing it, it would burn out. I don't know. I suppose I could cook brushes in there, but, you know, it is what it is. I'll keep it the same. So we've got 2 gears in there. One usual runs up the inside of this main mast, and the other one. You've got 2 idler gears just in there. I mean, if you can see them in there, probably might be better this side. There you go. There's 2 idler gears in there. So one runs the top, one runs the bottom, and it comes off of this gear here. Now, it's quite difficult to work on as well, because you kind of have to take all this lot off if you want to get to the gears or whatever, because I've had one of the screws shear off. One of the gears is kind of glued to the shaft. It's got like a spiral, and I think it's, if you do crash, that it'll spin and won't damage the gears. Little tiny servos. I think they're kind of quite fast servos. They're all like rubber mounted. They've all got kind of O-rings in them to make them all kind of, well, where's the top one? All sort of sloppy. Now the thing is with this as well, this outside mast here, let's just bring this up a little bit. Right, this mast here is stainless steel, and it's a very thin wall, you know, I don't know why it is so thin, because it doesn't need to be, because it's only got a 3mm shaft that goes up to drive this top rotor. So it could have been made a little bit thicker, and even the main mast could, the thin one that runs in the middle, because you've only got to have a tiny little knock with this, like a little, just tip over and just catch the blade or something, and this whole lot has to come out, and you have to try and straighten it. I'll straighten it in my lathe, and it runs absolutely perfect. But as soon as you get a little wobble in that shaft, because it's so wobbly anyway. I mean, this is their idea of a strengthener. I don't know if you can see that there. Look, this is a strengthener that goes onto the back tail. Look, can you see it all flexing? So all the chassis is a tiny little, it looks about 1.5mm carbon. You know, there's no strength in it whatsoever, really. These of the tails I did in like a carbon wrap, but they're just like a bendy sort of plastic, and they seem to be fine. Now when I got this, I thought to myself, oh great, it's got polythene blades on it, because I've got a couple of little coaxials, and they're, you know, I built that cam off on a big llama chassis, and you know, again, the slightest wind you can't fly, all that stuff. But it suffers from blade strikes all the time, and they break and they're hard to get hold of now. And I thought, well, at least this one's got polythene blades. They will never break, you know, they'll just bend or whatever. Now, whether it's old age or something, but yes, I've broken them. I broke 2 blades. Just, I don't know what it catches, whether it's the fly bar or something like that. Because when you're flying towards you, you can see the fly bars right at an angle and it's so close to the blades. I don't know what the sort of design is of that. The blades go up, but as you turn, you can see the fly bar is very, very close to the blades. And, you know, you have one little tip over and you'll bend the shaft, you'll break a blade. I've been sourcing all different types of glues to try and glue polythene, you know, which is kind of impossible to do, but there are some glues out there. I've got a guy who said he might 3D print a set for me. That'd be quite interesting. But if any of you guys out there watching this video know anything about this helicopter, or where I can get any parts for it, a set of blades or something like that, could you get in touch with me? Just come through the on my video channel and just let me know if you know, there must be a few more of these out there. I mean, I didn't make very many, and it's a very rare thing. But if there's any of you guys out there that know anyone or know of where there's a set of blades or some gear, so I can kind of keep this thing running, because in the calm it's quite gentle and it's quite sort of relaxing to fly. So, you know, I want to kind of hang on to it, but it's a very strange thing. You know, I mean, 2003, people were flying around with proper helicopters with, you know, real control. I really don't know what they were thinking with this. I mean, you've got so much movement on that flybar. And these are only really soft stainless. You know, it's all made out of like exotic materials. But this bends, you can just bend that in your hand. You know, it's the slightest knock on the flybar, and that bends that. So it's not a very strong thing. You've got to be so careful with it. And it's quite a learning curve to fly it. It leads you into a kind of a full sense of, it hovers really nice. Okay, so you can just hover it and you can just do a little pirouette and you think to yourself, oh, this is a pussycat, you know, I can fly this easy. And then you'll fly it around, you might do one big circuit, and then you'll do a circuit the other way. Only little ones, you know, like sort of 10 foot or whatever. Then all of a sudden, the tail will just swing round for no reason, and you'll see the slightest little bit of breeze has come across your garden, and it's just caught it, and it spins it straight round, and, you know, you have to just let it go round, try not to sort of like plonk it down or anything like that. You've got to be so delicate with it. But with the skids as they are, look, we've got straight skids on there, which kind of want to dig. Every time you crash or you take off, they want to dig in the grass and they want to go over. So, and these are carbon. So I've ordered some alley rod, and I'm going to try and make some, you know, that tip up there, because it might help taking off and everything like that. You've got to take off from sort of a higher base, really, especially with the batteries at forward, because she wants to go forward. So, you know, that's kind of where we are with that. It's got a Coaxial Creations speed controller, 55 amps, max 5 to 16 cells. So it's quite powerful, but you just can't, you've got to kind of have that throttle curve. There's sort of hardly anything in the bottom, so you can sort of hover it. I've got 100% expo on the rudder, so, you know, you can, that rudder moves as quick as you can get it, because you need it, because it starts spinning the other way and you can't get it back. What else have we got on here? I don't know what these little servos are. I can't sort of see the name of them, but I'm flying it on my Futaba radio. These tails are linked up through here. There's like a couple of rods that go across. It's like your normal kind of swash plate here. Where are you? Yeah, normal kind of helicopter swash plate here. You know, it's all kind of nicely sort of set out, but I don't know what they were thinking really, but it kind of, I've got sort of, it's so lazy to fly, it leads you in that, like I said, that situation where you think kind of, oh, it's going to be easy, and then you'll take it off for a circuit and it'll just stop on you and want to swing round on you and fall out the sky, which it's done quite a few times. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. I'll put a video of it flying straight after this video. I thought I'd give you a little infill on sort of the thing and how it works and all that. And if, like I say, anyone out there knows of any parts for this, I'll be, more than welcome to buy them off whoever it is and go from there. So I'm going to sign out now, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.